Now, when you look at news, when you look at news coverage, when you look at every controversy that we see, something has changed. And that is that it has become increasingly popular for your feelings to matter more than the facts. And I think that's toxic to a democracy, because if there's one thing that we have to be able to have this discussion, to be able to learn to live with people that we disagree with, we can't have a conversation about what we should do. We can't have a conversation about where we are going if we can't agree on where we are, if we can't agree on what is happening. Facts have to matter more than feelings.
You've said your greatest fear over what you did was that things would not change. Have things changed? Would you do it again today knowing what you know now?
This is a significant portion of the final chapter of my book. Things have changed, and I would do it again. If I changed anything, I would hope that I could have come forward sooner. It took me so long just to understand what was happening, and it took so long to realize that nobody else was going to fix this. Believe me when I say, I did not want to light a match and burn my life to the ground. No one does. Nobody really wants to be a whistleblower. But the results of that have been staggering. I thought this was going to be a two-day story. I thought everybody was going to forget about this a week after the journalists ran the first stories in 2013. But here we are in 2019, and we're still talking about it. In fact, data security, surveillance, the internet, manipulation and influence that's provided or produced, rather, by corporate or governmental control of this permanent record of all of our private lives that's being created every day by the devices that we have. Before 2013, if you said there's a system that's watching everything you do, the government is collecting records of every phone call in the United States, even for those people who are not suspected of any crime, it was a conspiracy. Yes, there were some people who believed it was happening. Yes, there were academics who could say this was technically possible. Yes, there were technologists who went, this is something that could be done. But what we didn't have is the world of 2013, some suspected that this was happening. The world after 2013, we know that it's happening. And this is the critical importance of journalism, particularly in this moment that we have today. The distance between speculation and fact is everything in a democracy, because that's what lets us, as we did post-2013, change our laws. The very first program that was revealed in newspapers has since been terminated. Barack Obama, who criticized me so strongly in June of 2013, by January of 2014 was proposing that this program be ended. Eventually it was ended under the USA Freedom Act. The NSA argued that mass surveillance was legal, bulk collection as they call it. They said 15 different judges authorized this. What they didn't tell us was that those 15 judges all belonged to the rubber stamp FISA court, that over 33 years had been asked 33,900 times by the government to approve surveillance requests, and only said no in 33 years 11 times. Now, this was a court that was never designed to interpret the Constitution, right? It was never designed to create novel powers for the intelligence community. It was just designed to stamp basic routine warrants. Now we know what has changed. The very first open court outside of these secret rubber stamp courts that got this case in front of them, it was Judge Leon in a federal court and then a court of appeals, said that the NSA's mass surveillance activities were violating even the very loose standards of the Patriot Act. They broke the law. He further said these programs are likely unconstitutional. And this would not have happened if we couldn't say, this is real, this is actually happening. And I just want to make clear, that's not me saying that. That's not speculation. That was the determination of the Supreme Court just a few months before I came forward. In a famous case, Amnesty versus Clapper, I believe it was in February of 2013 or December of 2012, all the way to the Supreme Court, these surveillance authorities were being challenged. The plaintiffs said the government has a mass surveillance program. It has impacted this human rights organization. They have been spied on in secret by the government. The government said that may be, but if it's happening, we will neither confirm nor deny that it's happening. It is a state secret. And because you can't prove it, the court should be forbidden from ruling on the constitutionality of this program. And sadly, the Supreme Court of the United States agreed. They said this program could be unconstitutional, but if you cannot prove it exists, we cannot evaluate it. That's what 2013 changed. On the legal side, we have now had the GDPR. We have had the first European regulations that are trying to limit the amount of data that can be collected secretly and used against populations broadly. And we have also seen the basic structure of the internet itself change in response to this understanding that the network path that all of our communications cross. When you request a website, when you send a text message, when you read an email, for so long, those communications have been electronically naked or unencrypted. Before 2013, more than half the world's internet communications were unencrypted. Now, far more than half are, measured by just web traffic from one of the world's leading browsers, the Google Chrome browser. Some figures show it at more than 80%. The entire world has changed in the last few years. It hasn't gone far enough. The problems still exist. And in some ways, they've gotten worse. But we have made progress that would not have been possible.